Welcome to this episode of Sunny Silver Linings. Sunny's guest is Todd Billiar. Todd has over 25 years of experience in the field of technology consulting and service as a technical specialist, a manager, and a vendor. He has years of experience in the IT channel, having worked for large and small VARs and MSPs, as well as multiple IT channel-focused vendors. Todd has also served as a leader in multiple IT peer groups, helping drive the industry forward. And now, your host, the founder and CEO of IT by Design, Mr. Sunny Kaila. Hey, Sunny, this is going to be a little unusual start to the podcast, but you know what? Just to stay with tradition, here we go. Over to you, Sunny.
Yeah, so I'm super excited about our career conversation, especially today. Let's get into this a little bit. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, just a kind of brief summary, so that our viewers they understand your experience and how you travel your career journey.
Absolutely. And Sunny, again, I'm super excited to be here in the hot seat. So going back quite a ways, I got out of the Navy and went to work for my first integrator. It wasn't even an MSP. It was a true VAR by every definition of the word, and cut my teeth back in the old Novell days. So yeah, I've been in the trenches for a while, and then went from there and made a jump over to an MSP and was running a large help desk for them, and did that for a while and got involved in different peer groups and such in the MSP community. Really enjoyed that. And then I moved on from there to a up and coming vendor, VAR Staffing, that you mentioned. And I spent 7 years over there with that team. And then this guy from Jersey, he wouldn't leave me alone. And he just kept recruiting me. And hey, here we are, Sunny.
I know, Todd. I still remember in Arizona when we were at one of the conferences and we met at 7 a.m. for breakfast. And after that, I think we made stuff happen.
Yep.
So, and thank you. Thank you for being part of ITBD community. You are a wonderful, wonderful human being and you're family to us. And you do so much for this ITBD community and contribute at a very, very high level to serve the purpose, which is building our community with passion for excellence. Now, my first question to you is, what have you done in your career, Todd, which you would recommend others follow to be successful?
I think it comes down to really 3 big items. The first one is find a mentor. I've been blessed throughout my entire career to always have a mentor, someone who's been there, done that I could go to. And they didn't always have the answers, but they challenged me to go find the answers. The next one would be always be learning a new skill. Maybe it's not IT. I picked up photography. I picked up digital editing and film production and such. Also learn new technologies as technology changes, and the pace of change in technology always is faster. And the last one is get involved in the IT community. Always be networking. I think, that's how you and I, Sunny, met. It's just through those peer groups, we stayed in touch, and, great things came out of that. So always get involved with your peers. That'll help you stay in touch with where the industry's going. It kind of goes back to that mentoring and always be learning.
So it's mentoring, it's lifelong learning, and it's networking, right? Those are the 3 key things that you're sharing with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And okay, now my next question to you, Todd, is I think what is really, really powerful when it comes to your experiences that you have worked with so many MSPs filling their job orders during your staffing company that used to just serve the channel. So permanent placements that you have done from their engineering positions to marketing positions to service managers, all types of kind of talent that you provided to them. And then the other piece, then you were heavily involved with building your kind of candidates pipeline, talking to people what they're looking for, and then doing that matchmaking, right? That gives you so much kind of experience on both sides and make it very, very unique for you. So what are the attributes? So let's start with the MSP owner or the hiring manager. what are the attributes normally that you see that MSPs owners or hiring managers at these MSPs are looking for?
On the engineering side, it's got to be somebody who's hungry. They need to be able to come in and learn that new technology. Going back to my first answer, they have to know, they have to be a person. They have to have a personality, because in the MSP space, the engineers are out in the field. They are the face of the company. So they have to have the people skills in addition to the technical skills. And the third item and you kind of run into this if you're recruiting out of a traditional enterprise or the government space. The person has to understand that the MSP space is not a 9-to-5 job. It runs at a much faster pace, so they have to be prepared to take that challenge on and keep up with the pace. That's on the engineering side. From a sales perspective, I always advised my clients, look for somebody who's coming out of a sale model where it's not so much they're selling a thing, but it's a conceptual sell. And if they can, because you can't touch IT services, you can't feel it. It's not just about the speeds and feeds. It's more of a business sale. Also, I like finding candidates that have some type of competitive sports in their background. The reason I like that is those who do competitive sports and do it well, then,
Mhm.
they're coachable, they're used to practicing, and they're out to win. Those are probably in the sales side. And then in the
Yeah.
operations side, I look for really good communication skills, people skills, someone who can understand different personality types and be able to communicate with the different personality types. If you think about, the camel, the lion, the monkey, and the turtle, well, you have to understand how to communicate with those types of people. And so that's why I like to look for in operations types, and also people who like to look at numbers, because a lot of operations comes down to numbers.
Yeah. So one thing that I see common with all those roles that you mentioned is that drive to learn, and then that attitude, the personality, the culture fit that you were talking about, or just are you a good human being, right?
Yep.
And then third piece that is common is communication, and because those skills, communication, it's going to make you better no matter which role you're playing, operations, sales, or engineering. And then have being that people person. So what Patrick Lencioni will call that hunger, right? Hunger to grow, that drive. And then you have the humble piece, which if you have that attribute, you're always lifelong learning, because you don't take things for granted, and you understand that it's not an incident, it's a process, and you will always evolve from wherever you are to the next level. And then being smart, that people smart, that emotional maturity that you need, emotional intelligence that you need. So humble, hungry, smart mantra is very common when you are looking at the hiring side of it. And now I want to move into the attributes of a successful professional from the candidate point of view. I know it's like a very, I mean, it's probably the same, but do you see anything like what do you have experience when you're talking to candidates? What are they normally looking for from the career interest or the ideal role perspective? What are the things that you have experienced that they look for?
It's Sunny. As I talk to candidates, more often than not, it's not a money conversation. A lot of business owners think that candidates are just out there looking for more money, and a lot of times it's not. It's a better opportunity, and the opportunity comes down to what type of trainings available. Are they going to challenge me? Are they going to mentor me? Am I going to get recognized? LinkedIn did a poll of 10,000 people that had just recently changed jobs, and they asked what was the number one reason for changing, and it wasn't money. It was lack of recognition. They wanted to be recognized, and that goes back to like the communication skills you were just talking about. So a lot of times candidates want that, and then they want to, if they're coming out of a traditional business, they might be very siloed, and engineers, they're geeks at heart. I'm full-fledged one, and I want to learn a little bit about everything. And They want exposure to a lot of different technologies. And, here in the MSP space, that we absolutely have that opportunity to share with the engineers. But, even as I'm interviewing different folks here for roles here at IT by Design, I find a lot of the time, I run through the basics, but a lot of the time I'm there and I'm talking about the company, and the questions they ask are more about the company and the culture. And it truly comes down to what you were just saying. It's not only is the position a good fit for the candidate, but is the candidate a good fit for the position? A lot of that comes down to is, do the two cultures line up?
Yeah, no, totally. And especially in the new norm, it's even more important because majority of the people are working from home, and they have that need to stay connected from the engagement point of view and role clarity point of view. So there is that, the need is even more right now in the new norm because it's a very distributed workforce. Remote leadership is very different than when you are in the bullpen with your team. And when you talk about people are not only looking for money, people are looking for more than that, and especially the new generation, right? That anything beyond millennials, the people are more about the impact, how I'm gonna how my role is gonna make a difference, how my role is gonna make a bigger impact. And if you look at the role, it's not only money, it's basically what is their overall satisfaction that comes from that role. And job satisfaction is coming from obviously the comp and benefits is always important, but that engagement level comes from having the right career progression plan done. And the performance management piece is not just very robotic or systematic. It gives that right framework from 360 review to skip levels to frameworks like the balanced scorecards. All these things are true, but what it really matters is that along with the engagement programs like what we are doing, Todd, with the Bonusly, that is one piece. And then what we're doing with events, like with our mental break to the fun events that we're doing with our dance lessons, our virtual happy hours, to all these yoga lessons. So those events make it fun and engaging, and that recognition that we're doing with Bonusly type of programs. And on top of that, if you add that career development plan and the leadership development plan based on the roles, those are the major components that professionals are looking for on top of compensation from my experience. So I'm 100% in alignment that money is important, it matters, but what matters more is all these different things that we're talking about. Now, I'm going to go to my next question, Todd. What is the greatest life lesson that you have learned that you want to share with our viewers?
Boy, that's a stumper. No, I love this question. I love when we ask our guests this question. And I'm going to answer it two ways. One, and the answer is right up over your shoulder. And so many of our guests comment is always stay humble and kind. People are people. Always remember that. Be kind. That's just in life. But from a professional, start with yes. Start with yes. When presenting with a new opportunity, say yes. Figure it out as you go. There's so many free training resources out there on YouTube and the power of Google. You can figure out how to do things. And if you have that mentor network, they're going to help you. They're going to challenge you, but they want to see you succeed. Good leaders want to see their people succeed. So start with yes. Don't be afraid of saying yes to a new opportunity just because maybe perfect example, this podcast, Sunny. You and I, it came up in a simple conversation you and I were having. And you're like, let's do it. And what do we say? Yes, let's do it. And we figured it out as we went. So
start with wow before how, right?
Absolutely. So yeah, don't be afraid of new opportunities. It's the only way you're going to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. And thank you for that, Todd. And one thing that, looking at the sign, being kind, being humble, you always, I see you in action. And I remember you traveling and then you helping a passenger with this, being a good human being, being useful to people. That's what life is all about. So you always talk about, the core value being kind and humble and being useful, but you kind of always refer to being a good human being. And we are so blessed and lucky to have a good human being as part of our ITBD community, and we are just enjoying this journey together. And I truly appreciate your contributions, and thank you so much for coming as a guest to my podcast, and you being the co-host there. And together we are sharing a lot of insights here with the professionals, with our channel partners. And thank you for taking the time to share your wisdom with me and with our viewers today. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunny. Thank you for the invite. And let's go into my normal closing. To you, the viewers, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this episode. I do hope I was able to give you a nugget or two. I know Sunny did. And if we did, please honor us with a like, a subscribe, a share. And don't forget to click that notification bell down below in the player so that you get a little notification as we release new episodes, because you don't want to miss any of our future ones. There are some great ones in the pipeline. And we'll see you in the next one.